All right. Greetings, dear Capricorn. That is you. This is Tarot Illumination, and this is your general report for January 2018. Okay, we've done this before. Thank you for choosing Tarot Illumination. Do the routine where you watch your sun, moon, and rising, if they're all different, especially, and then reinterpret everything. Some people do cross-watching for their loved ones too. Things like that. This is going to be a broad general reading. It's just about energy, mostly love and healing and how it moves through your life. And I'd like to use that heart spread, like a journey of the heart. Okay, you'll see in a moment. Cards are all well shuffled in advance, but I go to the last second so that you are a witness. No reversals, flyers, jumpers, none of that. Sorry, there's not enough time. And so we're just going to go for it. Now, another thing. Oh, yeah, hold on. I'm doing this for all the reports for this month. It's because of this. I'll show you. Stay there, Capricorn. Don't go away. Okay, here you go. This is you, Capra. This is the big new moon over in the middle of January. Okay, this is like one of my little astrology doodles that I like to make for Astrobabble playlists, but we don't have a lot of time on this channel to do this. I'm sorry, but this is a huge new moon. It's kind of a big life changer for everybody, wherever this lands in your chart. And for you, of course, Capricorn, it's right in your face. Okay, we have Venus, Sun, Moon, Pluto, Mercury, Saturn, all piled up in the middle of the month, right in your face. Okay, it's Capricorn energy right in your face. So on a chart, it would look sort of like this. All these planets would be clustered and lined up right there in your natal first house. Okay, so, or wherever this is for you. We're just putting it like a general chart. So it means a lot of big new changes coming up, which means, change by definition means you're leaving a lot behind as you face something new. So it could feel quite radical. It could feel quite strenuous. It could feel very like in your face right now, or you could start seeing it as a big, long pattern, okay? Because it's just starting right now. And the big hint is that it's also starting at the same time that Saturn has just moved into Capricorn. So it is a massive new life-changing type of, let's say, calendar moment for you Capricorns, okay? I'm not going to try and tell you your future or how to make your, what decisions to make. I'm not going to do that. All we're going to do is read some energy for you here and to help you to make good, loving decisions, okay? Just make sure we're good here. And then we're just going to go for it, okay? And you can reinterpret however you want. I know a lot of you are really advanced souls out there. So here we go. We're just going to cut it all up. Make it extreme because I really like to break up the deck as much as I can. And yet keeping it very clear, okay? Here we go. This is your heart energy at the very core soul of you, perhaps not even having any words for it or any language. This would be legacy energy, history, baggage, leftovers, all of the Capricorn self that you've brought into this time period we call January. Over here is the ever-present now. This would be like snapshots of you moment by moment as you live through this period. And it is always in the now where you have your power. And it is in the now when you're deeply consciously connected with yourself, where you make your decisions, because all your power lies in making your decisions or not. Okay? And so on that understanding, how do we make the most loving decisions that are most loving for you, Capricorn? Because that's what's best for everybody. That would be here. Again, it might be a process you're not used to. Maybe it is. Maybe it's time to wake up to this. If you think that life happens to you and then you react, then this would feel like fate. If you are very much a participant in your evolution and you do consciously like to make your decisions, take ownership, and live the consequences, this would feel like consequence. Over here, this is the energy of what if. This is like the feeling of you projecting into your future, anticipating when you make your decisions, what's best for you. In other words, what if I mess up? Uh-oh. What if I make a good decision? Nice. Okay, so this is where you, it's like a feedback loop. This is where you feel like what happens in your body when you're making these decisions. Over here would be the prospects of, well, where does this lead? Assuming you make good decisions or making any decisions at all. So I'm hoping you can see already there's kind of a heart shape there. Okay, so just pretend that's you living your life through January. Okay, and then over here is just the core. This is pulsing heart, being you. The heart knows what it needs and what it wants, but it might not have any language. Let's have a look. And under here, we're going to look at circumstantial energy, like life in the world around you that you can observe and treat it like the weather. It's not going to own you. You're going to make the best of it, like any smart Capricorn would do. Okay? And you have the Seven of Swords. So my feeling here is to be extremely, extremely careful as we move through January, okay, Capricorn? Because you might be walking on glass, so to speak. Very, very delicate situations that require your most acute attention and awareness, especially in like what you say, how you say it, who you say it to, when you say it, where you say it, and anyway, be very, very careful with your words. It's an indication that there might be a lot of static in the air right now in your world where things are like arcing out because there's so much Capricorn energy piling up on Capricorn. It would be easy to blow your fuses, okay? So all I'm feeling here is that be extremely careful right now as you move through this. Be extremely aware that you're almost, very vulnerable to your own self one way or another. And it could be very easy to misinterpret situations and circumstances or get carried away with it in such a way that you can think you can do anything and get away with it. And also that you have to be very careful because you might be very vulnerable as well in this phase because of the huge shifts of energy that are going to happen. It could like crack you to the point where, other people's intentions could get inside of you and they're looking at for their own benefit, not for what works for Capricorn. So all I'm sensing here is just be very, very careful of what you're thinking, understand how your thoughts turn into words, turn into deeds, which turn into actions and turns into consequence. And it's a loop, okay? So, and other people are doing the same. So be very, very observant so that you don't get into trouble and other people don't get you into trouble, and that you can like glide through this period hopefully unscathed. Okay, at the core we have, okay, the strength card here. My feeling for you, Capricorn, is how on earth are you going to harness all this energy? It's a huge wall of energy. It's like big wave surfing, and no matter how gifted you are at living your life already, the big wave is going to expose you in your, let's say, least evolved, most egoic self, and how, in order to evolve and grow, you're going to have to be extremely acutely aware of your surroundings, environments, and circumstances, and find ways very carefully, like moment by moment by moment, to raise your, let's say, ways of being so that you are more in alignment with the will of heaven, where the egoic self is serving the will of heaven, which is ultimately what we're all here to do anyway. It's just a very, very tough journey to do that. And this is like deep down at your core heart level, that's what you want. That's what you deserve, and that's what you're already up to. It's just that you might be in very, very like big wave surfing energy right now, which could get very choppy, very treacherous. And like if you're not making the right, exactly aligning yourself the way things need to be so that everything flows according to like divinity, according to the way the healing power of love moves into people's lives and through it, so that you don't get, chopped around. Instead, you find a way to get yourself in alignment so that you are deeply, deeply in the flow, because that's what the heart wants. It's like you really, really, like at the core, deep, deep heart level, maybe not consciously, but at the heart level, that's what your heart wants. Your heart your soul being wants to be deeply in alignment with these new energies coming up. What are you bringing in with you? Okay, holding on to what works. Well, that's understandable. That's very strong Capricorn energy. You like what works. You like what is proven and stable and true. And it's like, I mean, it's a very Capricorn type of energy as well. You know, uh, the whole energy of strong foundations and like building a legacy of what works and endures for time, even beyond yourself. Like simple things like saving for retirement, getting trained and educated in life to do what you do and love what you do and do it to the highest standards possible for the bigger purpose of creating wealth, abundance, stability, and owning all your power and locking it down, like having very strong foundations in a building structure. So you're bringing that in with you. And it seems to me, as your reader, that the intentions are good here. Deep down, you know kind of what we were just talking about bringing yourself into alignment with higher purpose, mission, and surrendering to the will of heaven over here. In a very, so in other words, it's not like you becoming a wuss. It's actually you becoming a more highly evolved being, where your power and your gifts as a Capricorn become magnified because they are serving the greater, higher good of the will of heaven, as opposed to being very self-serving here. So bringing in all this stuff that works, good, solid structures that work already, where is it taking us into the present now? Mastery. So in other words, my feeling here is that with the King of Pentacles, at the present moment now, there's a realization that you've actually done a really good job already. You can feel it in your life, you know, whether you're really young or in the middle or older or really old or whatever, there's a part of you which knows deep down you've done a really good job in certain parts of your life to get to this level of mastery where it actually does work like this, the way we talked about, where you did build good foundations, and it shows. And it's very, very evident in your world, to yourself and to others, where you have a lot of those classic Capricorn traits, being uh, the uh, the master at uh, the material realm, being the achiever who has risen to their level, their stature, their level of mastery in classic Capricorn patterns. And this is what you want too, okay? But it's all about bringing this energy here, the classic, traditional, very worldly, grounded, sensible uh, Capricorn type energy into a higher level of purpose and meaning. That's what you know. It's almost like your heart is saying to yourself, gosh, Capricorn, I really am that awesome. It's okay. And I really can congratulate yourself. There's no arrogance here. There's no pride. There's no narcissism. This is just good, solid mastery, ownership. You don't have to explain this or prove this to anybody. This is you being your best self in a very earthly, grounded way. But your heart wants you in the present moment now to be more like this. Okay, bringing all your skills, talents, resources, and abilities into alignment with a higher purpose. So, in this position of strength and stability, you do have a lot of power and resources at your disposal. So, definitely something to celebrate, to the point where you could share this. You know, it's just like, you know, if you've got the golden touch, instead of being the miser, like with some people could interpret that. Some people call this the miser card. You are the king, and you can celebrate this and share this with others, where you can now, it's like you've worked so hard to get where you are, who you are in this certain aspect of life, where it is time for you to celebrate that joyfully, where you can give yourself a bit of a break and maybe get off the career track, get off the duty and the responsibility and the building of the legacy, and make decisions. It's time to make a decision to treat yourself first to some of the things that you might have denied yourself for a long time on this journey of becoming, attaining mastery in the material realm. Let's just say you've figured it out to some extent, and you understand that there's a whole new start here, but you're starting from a very good place. And so it's okay to share that. Maybe you have, understandings and gifts and talents and resources that you can now like share with others, celebrate with others, bring them into your kingdom, so to speak, into your domain, into your world, and celebrate it. It's just like, when royalty has something to celebrate, because this is very public energy. Capricorn energy often has a lot of responsibility with other people, where they look up to Capricorn. Like if you've got something to celebrate, make a decision to do that and share that. It's like having a massive office party or something. Having like where everybody is part of a team, they've all become involved, and everybody has shared in the bounty and the benefits, and that's very good. And you get to be the one who calls it out and says, it's time for an office party, people, or it's time for a Capricorn party. I want to celebrate and share my abundance with the world and show you guys what I did and how I do it, without being a show off, but just so that you can witness like what it takes to be like this. And I want to do it by celebrating. I want to share my bounty with you guys. So that's a very loving way to make decisions. How are you going to do that? So it isn't just, let's say, just about having fun. It's more to do with bringing yourself into alignment with a higher purpose. In other words, like the Capricorn CEO of Capricorn Incorporated now realizes there's a whole new mission ahead to bring Capricorn Incorporated into alignment with the will of heaven, like a bigger purpose. How do we do that? Okay, so it might include making decisions where, when you reach certain levels of mastery and then you're called upon to take it to the next level, it's almost like now you're in a situation where you have to, when you're making decisions, to share yourself and celebrate like this with others, with your heart knowing and craving to bring this alignment with the will of heaven, it might be enough of a leap for you where your standard practices and protocols are, let's say, challenged. In other words, like, why mess with something that works so well? Why would I mess with that? And what's the point of this, going to here with all this spiritual alignment stuff from Tarot Illumination when things are going so well over here in the 3 dimensions? Why are we even talking about spirit and stuff like that? But it's all about a whole new you where, as an actively evolving being, you're always evolving. And this is a big, huge green light moment that's going to take you into a new level of evolution. But you have to be very careful, because it could be so easy to trip over yourself, because if you've got so much going on already, that's, in some ways, that's when you're most vulnerable. Like when you're at the top, where else is there to go? You have to keep evolving. You have to grow or you are devolving. And the only way from there is to keep growing and evolving, no matter how well evolved you are already. Otherwise, you are not evolving, you're stagnating. And it's sort of like, I don't want to use that word. There's a word, I think. Sorry, I lost the drift there of the word that I wanted to use, but it puts you at odds with yourself. So when you feel that sensation of your body where you're at odds with yourself and you're battling with yourself, please treat that as a very powerful sign that you are on the threshold of your own evolution. And the battle within the self now is to take it beyond the self and into spirit, where this is all about you evolving to that next level, even though you've come so far. All right, so that's kind of what I'm feeling. There's no harm here, but it just means like it's almost like I'm already all this, but then you go back home at the end of the day and you think, man, I'm just going to take off all my robes and crown and I'm just a regular person. And now I have to get up in the morning and do all of this stuff that Tarot Illumination was talking about. Man, That means I have to start working out again. I have to go to my new, like, self-imposed spiritual evolution training camp for Capricorn. Huh. Why didn't anybody tell me? You know? But that's kind of what's going on here. So it means you have to be very, very careful, because when you're at the top, you're very, very vulnerable. There's nowhere else to go but down. Where else does the president of so-and-so go after they've been the president? You see what I mean? Anyway, that's for you to figure out. It's basically staying on top of your game, but taking it to a higher level. Okay, let's have a look. Where would that lead? Okay, realizing it's almost like, gosh, it's a team effort, because you could not have got where you are with all of this Capricorn stuff already, Capricorn, without being deeply immersed in the world with others, sharing your bounty and resources with others, being able to manage other people's talents and gifts and resources in a way that's very effective for everybody all around. And so you realize that again, but at a higher level of pressure on yourself, where so long as you understand, like, it's so important now more than ever before to maintain your integrity, but even to higher levels. And it puts you in a position where you have to become your own taskmaster with the Three of Pentacles here, again, in very, very tangible ways, where you have to be very, very astute, because there's almost no one else to call you out in this journey except you. So you can be very vulnerable to your own weaknesses and frailties about how to, like, take shortcuts to get out of the pressures of this journey here, of having to take it all to the next level of bringing you, your awesome Capricorn self, into full alignment with spirit, as opposed to what's already working pretty well. Taking it to the next level means it's almost like, dang, whew, I didn't know it would be this hard. It was so hard just to get where we are now. And now you're saying, Terra Illumination, is going to be an even tougher challenge to go to the last mile, so to speak. And the card is saying, yes, here, it's true, Capricorn. But please understand, it is a team effort here. And we are here for you. All these people who, let's say, might have enjoyed your presence in their life are here for you. Okay, it's just like they're your people. They get you. They understand you. It's not like you have to prove anything to them. It's just about getting back to what you do already, doing it in a processing way that's good for you. Okay, and they will support you. If you mess up, then you lose all the bounty and the initiative and the intention and momentum of good outcomes and good results. If you make these decisions and you're willing to go to battle with yourself and improve your game, then you get the rewards that you deserve. Okay, this is you bringing it home to you at levels that you've never known or done before. Okay, so that's good. I'm sorry, I'm trying to rush. I'm rushing to a conclusion here. I want to know what this is. Bam-o. So with the Empress here, it feels to me as though you just, so long as you are very careful, very astute, and you understand what we were talking about here at the beginning, you can create this new level of mastery where you become, through a process of, let's just say, fun decision making, no matter, like, even if you're going back at the end of the day going, oh man, that was hard, but it was a lot of fun, and I shared it with my people, and your people are sharing themselves and their resources with you. You take your whole game up to a new level, very, very carefully, one decision at a time. So it puts you at the highest levels of manifestation and mastery of all. Okay, like the Empress is just deliciously shameless about how gorgeous that energy is, and they love being who they are, like, to the maximum. This is the ultimate in, like, fertility, creativity, abundance, lusciousness. So it's in other words, by following what we were talking about here, being willing to surrender to the will of heaven each time you make a decision, it takes you to a whole new level of Capricorn that you may not have even known existed before, but it is there for you, and you can do that and be all that. Okay, so I've already talked too much, so here we go. I'm just going to leave this here. You can reinterpret however you want. Please make the best of it. Thank you for coming to Terra Lumination. Go Capricorn. Go Capricorn. All right. Bye.